Now we're going to do a little bit of trim work around this window in painting, and there's a couple of tricks to that. This is my son's room, and of course it's a total mess, and he's supposed to be here to help me, but it's Halloween, so he's out probably partying somewhere. I don't celebrate this holiday because I know a little bit too much about it. Anyway, gives me a good chance to paint. When you're doing trim, a lot of times, don't look at this fantastic 50-year-old body either. When you're doing this trim, most of the time you're using a standard, I forget what they call this stuff. It's a wood, comes in 8 to 12 foot lengths, and you can cut it. It's anywhere from 3 inches thick, 2 inches, to some of it 6 or 8 inches thick, and some of it they'll run up along the edges of the ceiling. That's called a ceiling molding. And then some really nice houses run a molding about, I don't know, 3 feet off the ground. That's called a chair molding for some reason. But what we want to do here is, I'm going to run my ragdoll roller along this to paint it. Now notice this is nice and smooth, right? And it's vertical up and down, vertical up and down. When we talk about smooth things, the paint tends to run right off it. Now when you're doing trim gets a lot of cleaning on it. So you use a semi-gloss or gloss. Usually trim paint, what we use is something called cashmere, or you can get a trim semi-gloss. The thing about the trim paint, it's about $60 a gallon. And cashmere is just like its name says. If you've ever felt a cashmere sweater, it's beautifully smooth. Cashmere is a premium paint. You can put it on, you can stroke it on with a brush, and you get all these brush lines in it. And as it dries, it just smooths itself into a solid sheet. And that's what you want because of this, the way this is. So I'm going to do this in semi-gloss. But the one thing about these windows here, these are fitted windows. I put them in, and you want to paint the trim right here. This is the trim molding. Right next to it is a little tiny bit of caulk. You can paint that. You cannot paint the plastic on these windows. Paint does not stick to them, and it's a no-no. You cannot put it on here. They're not meant to be painted. So what I do is, like I said before, instead of trying to get this little tiny bit into this corner beautifully, I leave a little extra right there. And then what I do is I'll take my 9-in-1 tool, and you put it right up against the edge right there. And what that also does is that seals the edge of the tape into the plastic. Remember, all I'm concerned about is the bottom. I don't care about getting all this taped in. All I want is that bottom, if you can see right there. That's just beneath this blade is about how much I want sealed in. Because that's all I'm concerned about, is getting a smooth line. So I put my blade up, and just pretend the blade's here. And then I take my knife and I cut. It's hard doing this one-handed. But I'll cut like that and then just pull this off. Well, shit. Anyway, you get the point. It's meant to be a two-handed job. But you do the same thing on the other side right over here too. You go all the way to the end and leave it out. And this was caulk maybe a year ago. And sometimes caulk, it separates for some reason. It could be that there was water in the caulk, it could be heat, it could be, and all you do is you take more caulk and fill it in. No problem. It does happen, especially like I said with nowadays caulks, that these manufacturers are really trying to save money, so they're giving you the same amount of caulk, same weight, but it's got a little more moisture in it. And if you're a painter and you use this stuff every day, you can tell. So I'll run a piece of tape all the way around the edge of the window on the plastic. And then what I'll do is I'll get my semi-gloss and my ragdoll, and I'll paint from right here all the way down. And you can paint the other side if you want, or you're not going to really see it, and it's got the wall paint on it, eggshell. So I'm just going to do the top right here. You give it 2 good coats of semi-gloss. You always want to use semi-gloss on your look at that muscle. Look at that. Not bad for 50. But you want to use your semi-gloss on all your trim, and you always want to use a really good type. And cashmere comes in like 3 lusters. It comes in low luster, medium, and I believe it comes in high luster. Now, why it comes in 3, I don't know, but you cannot use one type and then use another type, because you can, at 10 feet away, you can really see it makes a huge difference. So then I'm going to do this. I've done the entire room except behind this bookcase where my son was supposed to help me, but don't worry. I'll see him as soon as he needs some money. He's going to go, oh, Dad, I'll help you next time. The check's in the mail. I had my head turned off, sir. I didn't see a thing. Okay, son, what the hell. Anyway, that's where we're at so far in this room. And I have one more room like this to do, and then I'll do my room. But the white really makes the room really stand out. Another thing too, if you're doing your closets, say you got a pink room, never paint your closets same color as, say, like pink. Always keep it a standard white, because you may want to change your color of your room to dark blue or black or whatever, and you don't want to have a pink closet. So always keep your closets neutral. All right, I'm going to post this in paint, do some paint.